All right, we are going to do lesson 20 in module 4, and that is converting mixed unit measurements. Fairly similar to lesson 19. So we're going to go ahead and start off with 4 1/3 yards, and we're going to convert that to feet. And we're going to go through that same process that we've been doing when we're converting measurements. And so we've got 4 1/3 times 1 yard. And then we want to think 1 yard is how many feet? Okay, so 4 1/3 times, okay, 1 yard is how many feet? That would be 3 feet. Okay, so 1 yard is 3 feet. Then we're going to go ahead and multiply. In order to do that, we need to convert this to a mixed number. So we've got 3 times 4 is 12 plus 1. So 13, you keep the same denominator, 13 thirds times 3. And we know with whole numbers, you can mark that over 1, multiply straight across. The other thing we know is that when you have the same number in the numerator and the denominator, they basically cancel each other out. This is like 3 divided by 3, which is 1. So we're going to cancel those out, and that leaves you with 13 over 1, which is the same as 13 feet. All right, next one we're going to do is 2 1/4 feet equals how many inches? All right, so same process, 2 1/4 times 1 foot, bring that down, 2 1/4 times, and then how many, or 1 foot is how many inches. So you always want to start off with whatever's in the parentheses. So 1 foot is how many inches? And we know that that is 12 inches. We're going to go ahead and convert this to an improper fraction. So 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. Keep the same denominator over 4. Multiply that by 12. We know that that can be over 1. And then we can do this a couple of ways. You can do 12 divided by 4. So 12 divided by 4 is 3. And then you multiply straight across. That gives you 27 inches. Or you could break these down into factors. So you could do 9 times 3 times 4 over 4, right? So you've got 9, and then we broke the 12 down into 3 times 4, and then we kept the 4 in the denominator. Then we can cross cancel the 4's, which also leaves you with 9 times 3, which is 27 inches. Okay. Next one. 3 1/2 gallons equals how many quarts? All right, so bring that down, 3 1/2 times 1 gallon. Bring it down again, 3 1/2 times, okay, so 1 gallon is how many quarts? 1 gallon is how many quarts? Okay, well, we know that there's 2 cups in 1 pint. We know that there's 2 pints in 1 quart. Oops, QT, 1 quart. And we know that there are 4 quarts in 1 gallon. Okay, so we know that 1 gallon is 4 quarts. And then we're going to go ahead and convert this. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Keep it over 2 times 4. Now we could do 4 divided by 2 is 2. And then multiply straight across to give us 14 quarts. Or we could break the 4 down and have it 7 times 2 times 2 over 2, this 2. Cancel, cancel, multiply to give us 14 quarts. Okay. Next one. 1 2/5 hours equals how many minutes? All right. So we're going to go ahead and 1 2/5 times 1 hour. 1 2/5 times, so 1 hour is how many minutes? So that would be 60 minutes. Okay, convert to an improper. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. Keep the denominator, 7/5 times 60. Okay, we know 60 divided by 5 is 12. And 7 times 12 is 12 times 7, 14, 84. I know you guys probably knew that. 84 minutes. Okay, or like I said before, you could do 7 times 5 times 12 over 5. Okay, we're breaking down the 60. And then you're going to cancel your 5s, and then you still have 84 minutes. Next one, so right now we are converting, we're converting larger units to smaller units, but now we're going to do it the other way around. So we're going to convert smaller units to larger units. All right, so we'll do 11 feet equals how many yards? So same process, 11 times 1 foot. So we're going to do 11 feet equals, I don't know why I did that, how many yards? So we're going to do 11 times 1 foot. And then 11 times, so 1 foot is how many yards? So you always start with this one. Okay, so 1 foot is how many yards? Okay, so you start with this one and then you go to this one. So 1 foot is how many yards? And we know that there are 3 feet in a yard. So 1 foot would be 1/3 of the yard, right? So if this is 1 yard, and we know that 1 foot, there's 3 feet, so 1 foot is 1/3 of the yard. Okay, so 1/3 of a yard. And then we multiply. 11 times 1/3 gives us 11 over 3. Convert to a mixed number, 369, so that's 3, and then you have 2 left. So 3 2/3 yards. Next one, 5.5 feet equals how many yards? Same process, 5.5 times 1 foot equals 5.5 times, so here we go, 1 foot is how many yards? And we just did it up here, so we know it will be times 1/3 of a yard. And we're going to have to multiply. In order to do that, we're going to convert that to an improper fraction. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11, over 2, times 1/3. Multiply straight across, 11 over 6. convert that to a mixed number. 6 goes into 11 one time, and you have 5 left. So 1 5/6 yards is your answer. All right. 3 1/3 quarts equals how many gallons? Okay, keep that process. 3 1/3 times 1 quart. 3 1/3. Did I say half? Okay, 3 1/3 times 1 quart equals how many gallons? So we know in 1 gallon there are 4 quarts. So 1 quart is what fraction? 1/4 of a gallon. So we will do 3 1/3 times 1/4 of a gallon. Convert to an improper fraction. 3 1/3, so 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10 over 3 times 1/4. Okay, you could even multiply it straight across, so you can get 10/12, and then divide both by 2, so that would give us 5/6 of a gallon. Okay, we have one more word problem, and then you can go off and do your problem set. So, last one, so a container can hold 4.5 pints of water. How many cups can how many cups can 2 containers hold? So we want to know 2 containers equals how many cups? Okay, so if 1 container is 4.5 pints, then we know 2 containers would be 4.5 times 2, right? So 4 times 2 is 8. 1/2 times 2 is 1, right? So that'd be 8 plus 1, which equals 9. So we have 9 pints equals how many cups? And then 9 times 1 pint, and then 9 times, so 1 pint is how many cups? And we know that there are 2 cups in a pint. So 1 pint is 2 cups. And then you just multiply. 9 times 2 is 18 cups. All right, so 2 containers can hold 18 cups. Now, you could do it another way if you want to just figure out how many cups 1 pint is. So you could do 4.5 equals, so 4.5 pints equals how many cups? And then 4.5 times 1 pint, and then 4.5 times 2 cups, and then that will give us 9, right? 4.5 times 2 is 9 cups, and this is for 1 container. And then if you do that times 2, then you'll get your 18 cups for 2 containers. All right. And take a look at the problem set. Looks pretty good. Go ahead and make sure that you do this whole process. This whole process. For each problem that you do, including the word problems. And then if you need help, be sure to ask for help or work with a friend on each problem. All right, see you guys in a little bit.